fun month. We've been looking at love, and we've been endeavoring to understand how real love is. It's not just a thought. It's not just an emotion. It's an energy. So begin to feel that energy of love that moves through us all, connects us all, and to make it more real in our lives. So I thought I'd start off with the law of love. Our first year metaphysics students learn these laws. And so this is the law of love. The law of love. Love attracts only love and transcends all other conditions, especially fear. Now that's a pretty good law to know, isn't it? But just think how good a law it is to begin to enact in your life. Say, love attracts only love and transcends all other conditions, especially fear. We can look at our world now, and it's pretty fear-based. There's a lot of things going on that have people worried, threatened, when the highest thing that we could do, individually and collectively as a people, is to send love to the people, places, situations, conditions in the world. And then allow that God, love, that divine mind, infinite wisdom and power to begin to move through and unfold life as divine order. So, how do we access this? We consciously send love before us to people or situations, personally. If we have someone or a situation in our life that is less than comfortable, maybe challenging, we can begin to send love to that person. We can send love to that situation. Because when we unfold that situation or that person with love, love is drawn to that situation or person. And greater love is drawn to us. So we begin that transformation process. The key word with the law of love is oneness. Oneness. When we hear that word, and we might use it as a throwaway word. We might use love as a throwaway word. We think we know what they mean, but we don't really go there enough to really be what they mean. Jesus' teachings of man can't know anything until he becomes it. That's when we truly know. So to begin to understand love is to begin to become love. It's a good path, and it's our path. We're all here. We're at a metaphysical Christian church. So today I'm going to talk about love and forgiveness. And a simple definition that we like to use for forgiveness is letting go. Letting go. Have you ever used that expression to somebody? Hey, just let it go. Aren't you done with it yet? Does anyone here have anything they still need to let go? Everybody raises their hand. Easier said than done. And that's the journey of life. The journey of life is to know oneself. The path begins in the heart. To know that we are the sons and daughters of God, that we are spiritual beings. Jesus came to show us a way of living. A way of living as spiritual beings in this planet of matter. Everything that he taught, all the stories he gave, the things that he did were examples and demonstrations of living as spirit in matter. He came to show us that we are the sons and daughters of God. And then through his teachings, we can begin to, if we choose, participate in life at this level. As we begin to allow love to flow through our lives, our daily experiences, we begin to transcend the laws of matter. We begin to even transcend this dimension. That's the teachings of Jesus the Christ. as we begin to really step into it and begin to follow the teachings of the Christ, to begin to follow the law of love, to begin to follow the law of forgiveness, our world will begin to transform. You see, that's why we're here. We work with lots of people. We've worked with people for over 20 years in healing work and meditations and self-exploration, things like that. And I don't know how many times, I'm going to just say thousands of times, when we do work with people, we ask them to get in touch with themselves and ask, what is my purpose for being on the planet? What's my purpose? And sometimes they're almost embarrassed, in a sense, and they'll go, to love. They've got the message from their higher self, from God, to love. And once again, it's that simple word we'll use and banter around, to love. But we all know in life how hard it is to truly love, don't we? When someone cuts us off in traffic, when we don't see eye to eye with certain people, in our worlds, at work, at play, anywhere. So that's the walk. That's the walk that Jesus has given us to work with us. So, as we begin to work with love and forgiveness, we begin to reconnect with God. We begin to connect with our true self, that we are spirit. And that's our journey. It's from our heart to know who we are. If thine eye be single, your whole body will be filled with light. And we've all heard that, haven't we? If our spiritual eye is opened, we begin to lift up and see oneness in the world, oneness in the universe, oneness in the cosmos. We are one. And we begin to move into that world. Give ourselves permission to move into that world. But when we move into that world, we're being asked to use these laws. These higher laws to navigate matter. These higher laws which will free us from matter. There's a beautiful divine plan going on and unfolding, and we're part of it. And so the teachers and the saints and the Christs come to planet Earth to teach us, to walk in demonstration. And they've all walked and demonstrated it. They didn't just sit on a cloud about 10 feet above the earth and tell us what to do. Oh, do this, do this, do this. They became it in manifest to be our true teacher. So when we say, if thine eye be single, your body will be filled with light, that's taken us back to oneness now. We're looking at life with two eyes. We're looking at life in duality and polarity and even separation. So as we begin to move into that space of oneness, beginning to consciously acknowledge that and then consciously participate in life at that level, that's when we'll be able to see our world transform before our eyes. Our world's transforming before our eyes right now, isn't it? That's why we say, what's our mission statement for this year? Outrageous expectations of good. So, as we see all these things happening in the world, we hold that vibration of love. And we hold out for outrageous expectations of good. Cindy and I, we just about cry when we see all this stuff going on. Because it's the freeing of imprisoned souls. Thousands and thousands of years. And these people are just standing up. And they're saying, see me. Just see me. I'm no different than you are. I've got the same kind of vehicle. I've got a family. I like to eat. I like to have a roof over my head. I'd like to be able to express my uniqueness in life. And what's so powerful is to watch it unfold non-violently, asking for a greater way of living and expressing life, and letting go. They tell their leader, just leave. They don't want to crucify him. We'll take over now. That's powerful. Because not too long ago, when they took off over countries, they wanted retribution. Pay for this. Your turn to suffer. You see, so this is how we can see the good that's happening in our planet. Expansion in consciousness. Forgiveness. They love themselves enough to stand up for themselves. They love themselves enough to let go of that which kept them in bondage, in limitation, in servitude. Because that doesn't serve any longer. We're moving into a whole new paradigm of life. That which served us in the past does not serve us now. And so that's why we get on that new beacon of love and allow that to just really be our guide. Give us the guidance, show us the way. Reveal to me, strengthen me. Loving and letting go, forgiven. As we begin to move into that consciousness of oneness, God and I are one, that's what allows us to move into our higher purpose. We may be here for a physical purpose, but we're here also for a spiritual purpose. And so if we open up that door to spirit, at least we're acknowledging, recognizing, and allowing that energy to begin to move through us. Spiritualization of matter. Our perceptions are transformed through forgiveness. When we love, we learn to forgive. When we're forgiving, we're learning to love. How simple is that? Simple, simple, simple teachings. How many here has heard the parable of the prodigal son? Once again, everybody raises their hand. The young man takes his wealth, his share, my share, from his dad, his benevolent father, and takes off into the world to sow his wild oats and experience life as he perceives life should be experienced. Lo and behold, he squanders all his wealth, finds himself at the trough eating with hogs. Not a good experience. He came from a pretty nice family. And he's sitting there going, whoa, what have I done? So he had that little dark night of his soul of maybe trying to get some understanding. He says, gosh, servants at my parents' home have it better than I have it. At least they got good food. I'm going to go home and just ask for forgiveness. I'm going to go home and ask for forgiveness. And I'm not going to ask for anything. I'll gladly be a servant. It doesn't matter to me. So, we're all the prodigal sons and daughters. So when we turn back to Father, you see? When we turn back, the minute we turn back to Father, see? In the book it says, and the Father turned the Son and started moving that way. You see? We turned away, enjoy life, see? Free will. Turn back, Father, whoa, reaching out. Come on home. Brings him home and honors him for a lost soul that's found. Coming back into that family of love and light. The brother that stayed home, he did not have forgiveness in his heart. You know, I think when we first hear that story, I know at first I didn't have forgiveness in my heart either. I said, what? He went out there and spent all the money, and now he's coming back, and I've stayed here, and I've worked, and done everything you told me to do? I can't believe this. So he wouldn't go to the party that his dad had for him, because he couldn't let it go. And that's a parable, is a earthly story with a heavenly meaning. So there's lots of levels. We're all going to get it at a different level. Everyone here, we're all levels of consciousness. But we're talking about love and forgiveness. The prodigal son knew he was loved. And he knew that if he asked for forgiveness, he was going to be forgiven and accepted back home. And he experienced that. And when he turned back, the Father turned to him and just sent love. You see? The law of love. Transforming, drew that love to him. The son that stayed home, no love in his heart. No forgiveness in his heart.